Hello, and welcome to my 17th century global empires class today. This is History Standpoint, and I'm Alexander Almeida, and I'm going to invite you to my class today. So let's get this started. I'm also trying to be quick, because if you really want to try and be here for like 14 minutes, that's great, but I'm going to try and cut this short. So if I go fast, I am so sorry. So, basically to start my class, I would basically do like a do now assignment. I want kids to come in, they see the title of the class called 17th Century Empires. I'll ask them, what four empires do you think we'll discuss today? Why did you pick this empire? What do you feel when looking at this? These two images, like from a DBQ. I'll give them 3 to 5 minutes. After such, we'll talk about what empires, but then I really want to get into the nit and gritty of these images. I want to understand what they think, what they feel, and what they see from these images. What talks to them. Does one look more like conquest, and does the other look more like settling? Just to see where my students are at. It's a good assignment. It takes 3 to 5 minutes to just see where they're at, and how I can then also see for myself is what I can really get in the nit and gritty teaching. So the first empire that we'll go into would be the Portuguese Empire. Established, I would say, Prince Henry the Navigator, as he encouraged universities and exploration, study of navigation, after the Ottomans basically monopolized the Middle East, blocking trade. So they thought, hey, you want to tax us so much? Fine. We'll try and get to Asia ourselves. Try and do something else. How about them apples? Something like that. And they took a risk. They really did. And they established universities to teach very famous navigators. One of them, Bartholomew Diaz, rounded the Cape of Good Hope. Today is South Africa. Vasco da Gama, who sailed after the Cape of Good Hope and thought, let's keep going. Went to India. Bing, bam, boom. Established trade routes along all these continents and through these navigators. Basically, fetorias. They're all around coastline of countries to establish trade hubs, like gas stations in a way, because you're going on ships to then trade, gives messages. And try to just be quick about it, using caravelas and all these other technology advancements you see in this image right here. Compasses, astrolabes, quadrants, just to help speed up the process of trade. Caravelas were light ships using Latin sails that could speed through wind to then trade faster, which basically helped Portugal come out of poverty, making an established powerhouse. As you can see today in these images, this was how big the Portuguese Empire got, using fetorias around the world, establishing areas of trade. And going back to the Portuguese Empire, these ships were known for their speed, as we all know, because as you can see, like from Portugal all the way to Nagasaki, Brazil, Mozambique, Luanda, Angola, all these areas is where the Portuguese want to attack for a coastline. Basically, you would sail from Portugal to Madeira, then from Madeira to the Cape Verdes, then from Cape Verdes to Guinea. And you're stopping along the way, like a massive road trip, just for trade, spices, gold, slaves, sadly. But that's what the extent it went to. And as you can see, the trade routes through here is all the navigators that set sail that we will be discussing about today. Looking at the time, I gotta keep going, so sorry. Spanish Empire, again, another monarch that funded these explorations. From Portuguese navigators, actually. Christopher Columbus went to the Portuguese universities to understand. He was Italian. Founded the Americas. He wanted to go west. But it was Cuba. Founded Cuba. Someone else founded the America Vespucci. Ferdinand Magellan, Portuguese citizen, but sailed under the Spanish flag. Went to the universities of Portugal as well. Circumnavigated the entire globe. His crew did, at least. He died in the East Asian Sea on an island, sadly. So, fun fact, Hernan Cortez, Francisco Pizarro as well, known for the Spanish Empire, killed a lot of natives, as we all know, in Central and South America, Aztecs and Incas. Basically all for the god, glory, and gold. Trying to find gold, glory of God, and for Spain as well. Bartholomew de las Casas was a human rights activist, actually one of the very first of its time. He believed instead of killing people, just try and convert them to Christ, believing that they have the chance and the soul to do so. Many Spanish were hesitant at the time because, again, they were just trying to kill people and pillage and steal gold. However, this actually, down the line, did affect natives. Spanish then started to teach them about the Catholic faith, into religion, which is today, as you see, South America is one of the most Catholic nations and areas in the world. Continuing on, this is the extent of the Spanish Empire, all the way from Central and South America, as well as a few parts of Africa and in East Asia and Europe because of the family lines. The Dutch is a bit different from the Portuguese and the Spanish. This is because of Juan van Oldenvat, was a Dutch statesman who started the whole business. A company called the Dutch East India Company, one of the companies founded by the state, first publicly owned company, by the way, which is actually the most wealthiest company ever in the history of the world. They made so much money, more than Amazon, more than Elon Musk, more, so much more. Because the Dutch government decreed that anywhere the trade went, they would actually have weapons. Many ships didn't really do that for trade protection of merchant ships. The Dutch thought, let's put armaments on everything to protect our trade. And then with the Japanese, the Portuguese actually were the first to explore with the Japanese. However, Jesuit priests got into the way, and the Japanese did not like Catholicism. So when the Dutch came as well, the Japanese were hesitant at first, but then they realized they did not care about religion. They were Calvinists, mostly, around the Protestant faith. And they basically only cared about trade, business, wealth, did not care about religion whatsoever to spread it. So they had overseas trading posts with Japan as well and other East Asian and Indian Asian oceanic areas. Because of privateers, they didn't really care, again, about the nationalist side. They were just bought out to do a job. Your job is to trade, to go places, establish areas of just trade. That is the main goal. And it brought back so much wealth for the Dutch. So much so, it helped the Dutch actually build what is today the Netherlands. Canals, windmills, all those flowers you see, again, established by this Dutch East India Trade Company. It was, again, so marginalized and so wealthy, but sadly, again, all good things must end, and it crashed. Just like the dodo birds. The Dutch did that too. They killed a lot of them on the island of Mauritius. In fact, all of them, because of disease, and also they were hungry. They thought the dodo bird was delicious and ate them. Just a fun fact. Sorry about that. Then, this is the Dutch East India Company traders, as you can see along many of the lines. And New York, as you can see a little bit right there. We'll get to that next slide, actually. And that's the British. Oh, the British. Henry VII hired Giovanni Cavuto. He wanted to go to China, just like Christopher Columbus. However, he ended up in Canada. The Newfoundland, to be exact. One of the very first navigators to end up there. Later down the line in history, we had Elizabeth I, who founded the East India Company. This is, again, just like the Dutch. They want to have a monopoly of the companies, trying to get some wealth in the country. Walter Raleigh was part of this with the Roanoke Island mystery of lost colonies today, if you say North Carolina. Was one of the very first settlements in North America under the British regime, but then lost due to history. Is a mystery. However, down the line, James I established the first settlement in America called Jamestown under the Virginia Company. Different company, but again, for the British. So there can be multiple companies. Unlike the Dutch, they chose one, while the British actually had multiple companies for many areas of this world. Like talking about New York earlier, we talked about New Amsterdam, now called New York because the Dutch and the British actually fought over it, and the British won, taking over New York, establishing actually a bigger imperial trade of the Atlantic Triangle, because manufactured goods came from England or Europe, traded down to Africa. So they gave them manufactured goods for slaves. They took the slaves, brought them to America for basically crops and resources, and brought them back to basically Europe. And that's how it works. You manufacture goods for slaves. Slaves go to America. America gives crops and goods and resources to Europe, so then they can manufacture those things. And then later down the line, 7 Years' War happened, and then they established even more area with North America and even India, establishing the first British Empire. But then years later, they actually established even a bigger empire. On this slide, as you can see, all over basically the world. So the 13 colonies. After that, boom, you can see all of Africa basically coming up through British especially Australia. Every continent was touched by the British. Every continent. You can even see Antarctica. They have Antarctica. So then my last assignment, sorry, this is a quick little summary, would be basically what do they think about these empires have in common? What pushed them into becoming an empire? What differences did they have? That is all I want these kids to just take away from this, is like compare and contrast, see what through history you can learn from today. Like, did one country want more religion-based? Was one country more of a company-based? What was the pushing factors? Was it because the Ottomans were blocking them? Was it because they just wanted to go into the empire business? Did they just want to get richer? All this. And this was just a quick little summary. And if I went too fast, I am so sorry again. This would have been even longer than 10 minutes. I am so sorry about that. But that is what this class would have been on. Quick little summary. I would have gone into more detail and depth and less fast pace. But yeah, I just quickly wanted to see what these people would know about empire building. Thank you so much.